Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy to start to this nice Dumbola party on Monday, baby. We got a new week of new opportunities, and we actually have a major move of brewing here. So all of the major signals that we've been looking at on the 2-day and the 5-day time frame, and even on the monthly as well, are starting to very likely rear their somewhat ugly heads. I mean, depends on your disposition, obviously, and that I expect to play out over the next couple of weeks here, maybe even leading into October. So I wanted to follow up on those, and then other than that, I wanted to quickly show my Instagram. I've been doing a lot of Bitcoin and trading related content there. If you're also interested in just like, short little updates, there is a link in the description below. Anyways, let's just jump into it right now and start it off right over here with the 5-day time frame. So the 5-day and the 2-day were big focuses of yesterday's analysis, and the 5-day time frame is more or less confirming hidden bearish divergence on the next closure with any sort of a closure, especially below 19,500. I do look at this as more or less formality, as the 2-day time frame, which closed last night, or sorry, is closing tonight. Well, actually, the one that closed the prior night had already confirmed hidden bearish divergence of multiple drive variety over here, and that is obviously a formality because we already identified the same thing on CME, which closed on Friday. So in this case, I am looking at the 2-day likely to lead into the 5-day, and then we'll come up with some areas of interest for the downside, assuming that the 5-day does get confirmed as well, which looks rather likely as of right now. So in this case, I wanted to bring back the statistically based analysis over here. This is the 2-day time frame that we were harping on yesterday, and essentially the signal is this: anytime that we do see 2-day BBWP, which represents volatility, aka the dispersion of returns, get down to not single digit, but 10 percentile or so, the expansion phase from these extreme lows, of which we've seen many in the past 4 to 5 years here, has led to an average move of 34, almost 35% in this case, done over the course of about 2.5 weeks. The stochastic oscillator has gotten the correct direction on that volatility expansion 84.5% of the time almost, and the first standard deviation, which represents where we expect about 68% of the results to fall between, is showing a range between about 25.5% all the way up to 44% on the upper end. So here's the thing: with the 2-day time frame closing tonight, the 2-day stochastic oscillator will be turning down with any sort of a closure again tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time below 19,700, this number right exactly here. So assuming that Bitcoin does not have a $1,300 rally between now and the end of the day, well, this is going to turn down, and then I'd be looking at the stochastic as relevant for the direction on this volatility expansion, as we are starting to see the initial etchings of volatility expansion over here with the BBWP getting a positive slope. Preferably, I want to see it get also above the moving average, with the moving average also having a positive slope, similar to what you saw back here, and basically all of them. That's what fully confirms the signal, but in this case, the probabilities, again, looking at them from the stochastic oscillator here, 82.5% of the time, that is a rather high hit rate. So I would be saying that the likelihood that we see a further breakdown from these regions is to the downside as long as Bitcoin is below 19,700. I also think that's a bit of a formality, simply because we are observing 2-day hidden bearish divergence and 5-day hidden bearish divergence over here. And then if we were to look at the first standard deviation as relevant for kind of, governing targets to the downside, assuming that we do see this number continue to be closed below, well, we can shave off about 25.5% from what would essentially be the signal given area, which would be actually starting on the last period, which is actually right here, basically. There we go. And so let me just let me get ready here and turn your eyes away, super boolas, as we plot in what would be the lower end of the first standard deviation, which would put Bitcoin like the mid 15s, that being $15,500, like let's say give or take $500 from that number. If we were to go for the 44% upper end of the first standard deviation, that's obviously going to be significantly lower. I won't plot that in right now, but it's like around $12,000. No big deal. But of course, that's really far away, and it would be very naive of me to say, or it's not even naive. It's not even my opinion to begin with, that it'd be a straight line down there. This move would likely take, well, about 2.5 weeks, as we have the average days right here. So coming into the end of this month, that being October, and at the end of September into October. Anyways, So yes, and again, this is in confluence with the 5-day analysis that we have been espousing on this channel for a long time now. This one, really nothing's changed here. It's just I don't really have anything to update with this. It's still suggesting downside. We still have 5-day stochastic oscillator, pointed just nastily south as long as Bitcoin's below about $20,000. And this signal was actually born in the middle of August, and the average days taken on this one's about 37 days. So that again puts us about this week and next week in September. So again, these stats, they're not supposed to be like super exact. There should be some variance in them, but you can see that the results are they rhyme essentially. And if we were to look at the first standard deviation over here from when the signal was actually given, which is obviously prior to the 2-day, well, even with these numbers, 35%, that puts Bitcoin in the mid 15s. So, we see these numbers kind of pop up multiple times. Here's the thing though, even if Bitcoin does play out this move, I suspect it's not going to be a straight shot to the downside, and you're probably going to see a major play in the FOMC event on Wednesday. So here's also a few other things to be aware of for right now. If we go over here to the weekly stochastic momentum has also crossed the downside, playing out a trendline regression over here as well. Rejection, I should say, and that is also consistent with what we see on spot price action here too. So the only focus today is really on the higher term timeframes. If we were to go to the lower term timeframes, I haven't even made any notes on these as of right now because I just don't think it's super relevant. But if we even go to like a daily, let's say, we have a drive of phantom hidden bearish divergence right there, which is rather interesting. Very likely a bounce somewhere around the current lows at minimum. A low time frame bounce in these cases. But I really want to not be focusing on the low term timeframes when we have the higher term timeframes. Suggesting some more important signals. I do suspect. Which are probably going to take precedence over it. So of course, you can have a high term time frame move play out and then several bounces on the lower term time frames in between there. But for right now, if we were to go down the list, the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour stochastic momentum is angled to the downside as long as Bitcoin's below 18,500 on CME. So, right around there. Wouldn't be asking for too much to get a short-term bounce here, depending upon like how short you're looking for. Hourly turns above 18,350, bi-hourly turns up above 19,250. So again, probably grinds out these lows, maybe sets up for another bounce relatively soon around the current lows, of the overall range. But I am looking for these signals if they are going to play out. Probably really going to start to get, moving there around Wednesday. Probably also going to be in confluence with with whatever the result of the event is. The only way that I could see this as a potential trap, if we were to kind of come up with some areas of interest, was, at this point, it would have to be above this last rejective high here, or at least above like $21,500, which as of right now, possible, not very likely in my opinion, but possible, I guess. And then of course, if I were to take this full circle, we can go back here, and I'll actually end on this one because why the hell not? And this is of course the September analysis, which September has been the worst month for Bitcoin historically speaking, and just the worst month for markets in general. A lot of people think it's October, but if you go off of the actual drawdown from open to wick low, it's actually September by a small margin, to be fair. But in this case, Bitcoin has seen 13 Septembers, of which 9 have been down. So that's 69%. Nice. 11 out of 13 have been down or range. So 2 of the remaining ones were basically just like unchanged, and only 2 have ever closed green. The average down move has been about 21.17%, and we have a first standard deviation between about 13.5 to all the way up to 29. And what do you know? And sorry, this is coming in from the closure of August into the wick low of September. So if we were to play around with the numbers here, 13.5% puts you basically at current lows, 17 to 17.5, and 21% puts you where? Oh, there's that $15,000 to $16,000 number yet again, and then 29% puts you all the way down to like 14 or so. So fair enough. Anyways, I think that's a good place to leave off on today's video. Just a nice, short, and sweet one. Again, there's going to be bounces along the way, obviously, and I suspect that Wednesday is going to be a big catalyst. So with that said, much love, take care, and see you hopefully soon.